conclusion. Don't you dare go anywhere, because this one's going to be a classic.
Well then, here we go. As we start to serve this one up to you once again. We're moving back through to see how the game is going to go. Liquid taking on NIP for the third and final time this evening, off the back of winning Cafe 7-3 on the split, with quite a dominant game. 4 of the rounds purely being won off the back of just Team Liquid when they were on their attack. Now we come to Clubhouse and the bans start to rein in.
Clubhouse is an interesting map between both of these teams because the fortunes have been mixed so far. My big concern here is that Team Liquid have only very recently taken that loss on Clubhouse to FaZe Clan, and whether that's going to be fresh in the mind or not, I don't know. We will see how it plays out here today, but it can't be great for them. Coming in so far, they've played here 4 times, Jackie. Won once, drawn twice, and lost once. Obviously, the draws not irrelevant. It shows that they haven't been able to get the games over the line on those occasions, but not relevant in terms of a potential outcome here, because there will be no draws. This is map 3 of a best of 3. We need a winner. We need a winner one way or another, and if that means best of 3 overtime at the end of 12 rounds, if it sits 6-all, then that's exactly what we're going to bring you.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being...
And that is potentially the way this game is going to shape up. These two teams so closely matched when it comes to the individual prowess of each and every one of them. They're so bright, so many shining stars here on either one of these squads. 2 of the biggest and boldest organizations here in LATAM as well, representing both Liquid and NIP. It's a spectacle to behold, and it's been a hell of a series so far, and it's all been building up to this moment. The culmination on Clubhouse, the decider of the deciders, a match to remember between these two sides. We were talking about this series being a slobber knocker, and this is going to be the map for it. You will see spit flying by the end of this one, but it's all got to start at the beginning. Round 1 kicking off now. Team Liquid on their attack. Are they going to be poised? Will they be ready for this and be able to come in with a big opener? Or will NIP be living it large and locking it down on their defense?
20 seconds in. Team Liquid, they are doing some essential work here. They're getting on the drones and they are looking to gather as much information as we can. If we look at the past performances of Liquid and NIP here, and I think it's very relevant. We've just seen on Cafe, we were able to reasonably well predict exactly how that one was going to go, especially when the flip came over to Liquid on the defense. We knew that they would struggle on sites away from the kitchen, and that is exactly what happened. Palu will open things up with a kill onto Pino. So Pino once again just struggling on that entry battle, and that's not really the story that we've seen him tell throughout the season. He has been very solid so far. One of the leading players, if not the leading player, on entry difference, doing extremely well. I think he came out of the season 42-24 and a +18 finish. So a little bit unusual to see him keep losing those battles, but he is up against some of the best now in Nesk and Palu. But looking at the previous attacks for Team Liquid, they've been pretty successful here on Clubhouse. To say that they've only had the 1 win, they've done very well. 60% win rate Church and Arsenal, 100% win rate Bedroom and Gym. The only area that they've really been slacking has been CCTV and Cash. So there's certainly some rounds to be found here for Team Liquid.
Right, honestly, name a more iconic duo than Julio and Nitro. Like, this man must go to bed with a little plushie of C4 by his pillow, Tim. Just giving it a good night kiss, waking up in the morning, bowing before it and coming out just ready, because his Nitro atrocities are just outrageous. The fact he's probably getting an average of at least 3 to 4 kills of a Nitro per map is, it's just mind-boggling, mate. I honestly love to see it.
Oh, he's got a shrine to Nitros. There's not, like you say, he's got the plushie, he's got photographs up there, and he gets up and he just, welcomes them in the morning and just takes his inspiration from it and then delivers on the server. It's absolutely unbelievable to see the consistency with which Julio uses that gadget to deadly effect, moves it with some deadly effect onto Nesk. Palu once again trading out, and he comes in and continues that form hot into map 3, but Julio shuts him down, and we now find ourselves 3 versus 2. Sexy Cake pushing through on the Montagna. We've seen some great Montagna play from Sexy Cake here on Clubhouse, but right now we're going to have to see something special, as it is 1 versus 2 and never easy. He tries to get the pistol out, will take the hip fire, needed some luck there, does not find it, and will be shut down by Psycho at the end of the round, and that's going to be round number 1 going to NIP. And this train just keeps on rolling right now, Jackie.
Oh, mate. The NIP train is at full speed. It's looking more akin to a train that does not require tracks at this point, as it can go anywhere. Would that be like a bus or a train without tracks?
I mean, I suppose technically a train without tracks. I suppose I was going to say it'd be more like a tram, but a tram's got tracks, hasn't it? So
yeah,
just
it's got the overhead power lines.
It's got the overhead power lines, and it's got tracks. Although I'm not. Do they still need the overhead power lines? I think they do, don't they?
I think that is how it works. It's kind of like a really big Scalextric.
All I can see is somebody in a control room somewhere saying, "Can you take that one off and sort the brushes out? It's not running."
Oh god, yeah, you have to send someone in. They're getting like some new wires. They're like, "Oh, no, look,
back on.
The wires are a bit bent.
Slot.
If you just turn those around a bit, give them a bit of a twist, it should be all right. That'll sort it right out.
Sort it right out. Don't go too fast round the corner; it'll fly off. We've got 40 passengers in that one. Got to be careful. Got to be careful.
Is there dust on that? Oh bloody hell! Oh, mate. Right, well, let's have a look then, as it does seem like we have a bit of a poll coming through. We asked the viewers at home what their favourite Scalextric set was. No, we didn't, unfortunately. But we did ask them who is going to win the round here on Clubhouse. 58% of people in favour of Liquid locking it down to start us off here on Club. Unfortunately, the 42%, the minority, are actually the ones that are correct. It is NIP that have opened it up with the initial round. But we will have to wait and see who will be locking down the series and who will be right when all is said and done at the end here of Club, as we have only just kicked this one off.
Head into Gym and Bedroom in number 2. An interesting choice coming out from NIP, but they want to keep themselves CCTV and cash in the bank. Now, NIP are yet to win this defensively. We've seen them play 3 times on Clubhouse. 5 times they have attempted to defend Gym and Bedroom. So this really is Liquid's opportunity. And if they take this one here and level it up 1-1, it's... Well, you've got to look at it as a roll of the dice. Because if NIP come away with the win here, they're first in 6 attempts at defending Gym and Bedroom, then fantastic. They leave themselves going towards the 100% win rate defensively on CCTV and cash, and that's perfect for them. But it is a big roll of the dice, because right now Team Liquid come in and just level this up here 1-1, and that momentum that NIP feel like they've got coming in from that big victory on Cafe 7-3, you start to feel it ebbing away then, because Liquid start chipping you down, and that's something that they need to be careful of here. So this is a big risk in round 2 for NIP going to Gym and Bedroom.
Let's see if the risky business will be paying off, or if they will be reeling in pain off the result that will come out from it. Early on, we're seeing the pings of information that are going out from Team Liquid, once again trying to utilize Sexy Cake's Monty to be a huge boon for them. To go in as a big, bold, thick drone that can take some bullets and also take some names potentially, but most importantly, gather the information of what positions are in play by NIP and force them out of those angles by using that shield to bash them back bit by bit. And talking of bashing, you might see some shots coming out soon, Tim, as the Thermite is going to open up the doorway here. Like the little quick on-the-fly use of the drone as well from PSK to clear that angle out and force them to peek and fire out the warning shots. Smoke, though, in the meantime, once again, coming into effect. Oh, Sexy Cake! If he would have overstepped the mark, if he would have gone in through the boundary of the doorway there, stepped over the threshold, he would have been dead. Dropped down to the ground by the Nitro, but he backed off and just takes a little bit of damage. By pushing back through, though, he exposes himself once again, and Julio, he doesn't get the kill, Tim.
You got to feel like Julio really needed that one. PSK able to start getting the diffuser down now, and Monty taking an awful lot of attention. Nesk will get himself a kill, but Muzi will trade that out. Diffuser active 4 versus 3, and this is not going to be an easy retake for NIP, especially with Sexy Cake still on the board. Palu rains in a kill onto Kamikaze. Muzi goes for the jump out, but Palu just manages to dip himself into the little alcove there on the outside area, keeps himself safe. And Right now, NIP, they are at Sharks and they are circling Julio onto Moringa. Pino, he has to challenge Palu. He has to win this one, but he won't be able to. Palu with a huge backstab. 3 on the round, 1 versus 1. 6 seconds left to go. Can Julio close this one out? It is now or never. He needs to get straight on that diffuser. He's got the time. He's going to do this. Unbelievable finish from Julio there. Just getting the kill. The last second challenge. It does not get any closer than that. NIP, they close down a difficult site. That is the first time we have seen them successfully defend Gym and Bedroom, and boy, did they make us wait for it.
Oh my god. Man, this is ridiculous. The quality of play that's starting to come out from NIP. The notorious NIP with the quality of play we're starting to see here. 2 rounds off the back of the clutch. Madness. Absolute madness. They are Hellraisers incarnate with the quality of play they've been giving to us, Tim. They will keep you on the edge of the seat. They will serve up some spectacular flavour with the style of play. And, ooh, we're talking about flavour. They're starting to give this one a little bit more seasoning. The spice has been added to the mix. Oryx coming out. Let's see if this man is going to have an opportunity to be a gigantic nuisance maker into the round. We've had a couple of Oryx plays throughout the season. Now it's major territory, though. This is the opportunity to quite possibly make the most memorable major play from Oryx if Psycho can do something ridiculous tonight versus Team Liquid. It's the second semi-final of the day. We're in the upper bracket. It's the last map. You've already got 2 rounds. You get Oryx out. Give me something to scream about, Tim.
I would expect to see the construction and gym hatches opened up here, and that is going to leave Liquid potentially very exposed to that Oryx flank, and I think we'd all love to see it, Jackie. We've seen it used successfully in the LATAM season. Scardini on Villa, putting it to beautiful work, managed to get himself up the hatch onto the top floor. The push for the attackers was moving through to Trophy Statuary. That's where they were attacking. Scardini gets himself up the study hatch with about 20 seconds left to go, rushes through, hits a man on the statuary door, gets the kill, and then rotates through Vault, uses the ability again to go through the soft wall, so completely unexpectedly changes his angle of attack and hits a man on the trophy door. It was beautiful, and I'm sure that that is the sort of play potentially that Psycho is going to be looking for here. Get those hatches open and give yourself the opportunity. Keep yourself hidden through the round, and then potentially just pop up and cause an absolute nuisance, cause a nightmare in the server towards the late round. Get yourself into gym, work through, and just play the backstab into construction if that is where some of the attacking push comes from, if it is not completely focused towards this east wall and the garage catwalk.
A lot to speculate about and a lot to get excited about here into round number 3. Some crazy plays could be coming forward. Certainly some earth-shattering ones from NIP potentially off the back of the picks they've gone for into this round. But the same can be said for Liquid, Tim, as right now it feels like they're stuck in a bit of a downward spiral. They're starting to slump. They're struggling and they're not getting themselves back into a good position. They're really quite committed to making the Monty work on Sexy Cake, and it has been opening up avenues for them. But when it comes down to it, when we get to squeaky bum time, it just feels like NIP are one step ahead each and every time, and it really is getting quite scary. They're going to utilise the Thermite of PSK, open up the back door to fully capitalise and go for a convergence in towards the garage, and Psycho, we were talking about his late round roaming. He might not even get a chance to survive towards the late round. They're really trying to force him out of position early on. He's been detected. Monty's going in to try and strike against him. They can't use the utility to force him out, but they can overpower him in the 2 versus 1. You need to drop the shield, trying to get the trade game off with a pistol. Instead, though, Moringa will peek out and tidy up. He can also get the res onto Nesk, Tim. This has worked out well for Team Liquid here.
I thought Psycho had just had a huge moment there, taking Nesk off the board, but unfortunately just couldn't land that last bullet that he needed, and Nesk will be collected. I think he'll actually get himself back up by the looks of his HP there, just a little bit lower than it would have been had he been resuscitated by a teammate. He'd have been up to 20 then, but it doesn't really make a difference. She's still basically 1 bullet away from death. Now we can see NIP, they're going to have to try and hold off this plant from distance. Out goes the Nitro. Julio cannot be successful this time around. round. We've seen huge nitro plays from him here on Clubhouse previously. Kamikaze gets one onto Sexy Cake. That's the Monty gone. PSK once again finds a way to get that diffuser down. It's not in the default spot, but this could be just as effective. He's got Moringa on Overwatch there. Kamikaze looking to try and fight his way back into sight. Completely shut down by Moringa. Nesk got one just before that, and right now time is ticking away. Pino's 1 versus 4. Shut down at the door. Nothing much he could do there. Very, very good attack from Team Liquid, and that just shows why, exactly why, the Garage Catwalk is so influential.
Man, it was interesting as well because it did feel, I don't know, Tim, potentially a bit of a bold call to make. If obviously you pick up the Oryx, right? You could have gone for literally any other operator in that instance with the way you played it. Garage. It didn't feel like it was, I'd say necessary, but honestly, yeah, it did just feel like it was a bit of a throwaway.
Well, you've got to look at the other options. So, you know, was Oryx a good play on the catwalk? Maybe he likes the gun. Maybe he needed him for a bit of sight rotation, whatever it was. But I'm not sure that will have been the original plan, because let's look at it. Oryx brings no utility. He does help to set up the site, but they've got a smoke. They've got shotguns. They don't really need that. That's not essential. And there's not much setting up needs to be done on that site in terms of rotations. There's generally one from cache stairs into cache room. But other than that, potentially one onto Garage Catwalk. We've seen that hit and miss in LATAM so far. They don't always play with the rotation through onto Garage Catwalk. It can do more harm than good sometimes. But at most, you need 2 rotations. So you can do that. Not much of a problem. So we don't need the Oryx for that. So what else does he bring to the table at that point? You know, in terms of, by comparison to other operators that could have been in his place. You know, you could have had the Doc with the stim pistols, potentially. Yeah. You could have the Maestro, potentially, bringing those cams, the Evil Eyes, feeding information in. You know, there are many other options that will generally be preferred to play up on the Garage Catwalk. And ultimately, it all comes down to the same. I mean, I'm looking at potentially a Legion. They've had a Montagna who has come and completely pushed them around, and that's not unexpected. Sexy Cake has done that repeatedly over the season, and that is exactly why Liquid took the ban onto the Clash, because they have struggled to clear Garage Catwalk when the Clash has been played against them. So that straight away signals, we're going to bring Monty to clear Garage, and that's exactly what they've done there. So maybe some like a Legion that could have slowed that down, just play those goo mines out and prevent Sexy Cake being able to continually push up, or at least slow him down and prevent that progress. And so, yeah, I've got to ask the question along with you on that one, Jacket.
It did just feel like a bit of a bizarre play. You never know, though. I guess maybe there was an initial move they wanted to make with it, and the call was made to bring out Oryx for the run game, and then when they've got into the nitty-gritty and they've started to realise the potential plays, he was the short straw, even, if I can speak, to decide, obviously, who was going to have to defend towards Garage. And I guess they just tried to make an awkward fit work, Tim, and unfortunately, it didn't really work out too well. It's not ideal, and they do drop the round. Obviously now, moving back into round 4. NIP, they're still leading large with 1 round over Team Liquid, and that was quite a bold move to make, potentially suspecting there was a player lurking right behind the window. We do see the barricades getting busted open and the peek coming round from Pino on the mute, and this man trying to make waves and cause some carnage. He's lucky he's still alive, or he himself could have been muted and left dropped down on the ground, because he's taken a lot of damage off that encounter, and he's got to sit pretty with it as well. No dock in play, no way of being able to buff himself back up. That's your livelihood now. Deal with it.
Deal with it. He will have to. We can see Psycho taking damage as well, and this round not going great for NIP. Liquid certainly looking to get themselves in here, get the advantage. Nesk will do that, taking the last of Psycho's HP. Palu will get Pino, and that now leaves us in a 5 versus 3. Liquid looking to fight their way back into this. They're looking for 2-all on the scoreboard here. They want to get themselves back in the mix. They know that there is a potentially very good defensive half ahead of them. We know that Liquid are solid on the defense here on Clubhouse, so they will be looking to get themselves at least even on the half. They'll be looking for any advantage they can get realistically. If they could go 4-2, I am sure they would be ecstatic with that. But Each journey starts with a single step, Jackie, and that single step is now round 4 Liquid. They need to get this one leveled up yet, and even at 5 versus 3, it is certainly not a dead cert, although progress is being made here. We can see the church wall, the base of it just being opened up by those Hibana pellets, blue corridor being challenged now, Muzi taken off the board as well. It's all falling apart for NIP. This is looking like a flawless round, and that's exactly what it will be. Team Liquid coming out with a big win, and that brings them right slap bang into this. And whoever really expected NIP to run away with that one, Jackie?
Oh, mate. Yeah.
That's not how we roll. That's
No.
just not how it happens in LATAM.
Honestly, we have these games being so back and forth the entire series. It's always such a contrast and a paradigm shift from map 1 to map 2. And then now with the deciders, it seems like this is when you play the back and forth, the long, slow and steady sustained game, right? Where it'll be NIP get 2 rounds, Liquid get 2 rounds. Now we'll probably see it go 1-1 and end up at an equal scoreline of the 3-3. And we can speculate about that. But firstly, let's focus on this. We see Oryx picked again. I'm curious now, Tim. We've made our points. We've given our reservations of the way they utilised it last time around. Obviously now, you're not defending up towards Garage. You don't really have to worry about it too much. You can play the roam game with the Oryx. Let's see how beneficial it is going to be for them now and how they utilise it.
He's bringing the barbed wire. Again, I look at Oryx on this site, and I'm not saying, I don't want to put the caster's curse on it and Psycho ends up coming in with an Oryx ace or something. But I look at it again and I just think, where's the usefulness? Really, Oryx has that potential for flanks based on the hatch ability particularly. It's not his only manner of doing so, and, it may well be that Psycho's just got a preference for the gun and the loadout and, likes what he brings to the table and his movement. But you want to give yourself that opportunity potentially, and when you're defending a basement site, that's not there. You can't climb up through the hatches. There are no hatches to climb up through. You can't get underground, Jackie. We know this. You can't do that. So it's limiting again. It's just basically removing, and you can use it elsewhere in the map. I know you could use it to quickly transition up through the floors and get up to top floor, but the staircases are reasonably well located here on Clubhouse. I don't think it's going to save you a huge amount of time or offer you any major options to get onto a flank that you couldn't realistically achieve by using one of those staircases up to the top floor. And, the opportunities for that to be useful, I think, are going to be reasonably few and far between. And, there is potentially better utility that could be brought. Bring along the Mozzie,
Yeah.
Prevent the access to the drones, prevent the information, maybe even grab a few and gain some information for your side. It does seem like a strange pick.
It is. It's an interesting one because obviously you look at it, and again, you're absolutely right in the sense that the dream scenario for an Oryx is going to be map like Consulate, where you're on that top floor and you can use the verticality and you've got multiple different layers to get through, like an onion, Tim. You can start off down and you can work your way all the way up towards the top floor in a matter of seconds, right? Quick, clean rotation that would catch people off guard. Whereas here, as you said, he's more of a raging bull. He's not a mole man. He's not going to be digging himself a tunnel and popping out like some sort of beaver. But by the way, beavers are very proficient at digging holes, if you didn't know.
Interesting animal fact there, Jackie. I was waiting for you to bring one to the major. That I always love them.
Yeah.
Always
I thought I'd
supports
bust
a
it
bit
out.
of further reading.
All right. That's the thing. Because, people might look at an animal like a beaver and be like, really, what do? Do they just build dams? They just sort of swim around a little bit? And yeah, they do. They build dams, but they're also very effective at building underground tunnel systems. So keep that in mind. If you ever start seeing holes appearing in the garden, it might not be a mole. It could be a wild beaver.
It certainly could be. And right now, it's looking like Team Liquid are just able to burrow underneath NIP and start to undermine their defences here. But right now, they've been located, they've been detected, and the mining tunnels, they're being burnt out. The timbers are giving way, and right now it's collapsing in on Team Liquid as NIP get themselves a couple of kills and find themselves 5-3 up. Only 30 seconds left to go, and it's going to be a tough push from here on in to this site, especially with 5 defenders left on the board. You're going to find yourself coming into the late round bloodbath here, and there's going to be more pointing at you than you can possibly bring to the table. But Moringa, he will level things somewhat and get himself one. We have, however, Moringa down at the other side of the map. We've got Palu taken out of things. It's largely all down to PSK. Shut down in Moto, and it's going to be round to NIP. That gives them another small advantage. 3-2 now.
Well, I'll be damned. There we go. NIP picking up that one with some clean kills coming through towards the end, living it large on their defense and getting themselves the 3rd round that they desired. Now it's just a matter of, can they actually tie it up 3-3, or is this going to be a 4-2 split? We've got a replay as well of the utility there being chucked out. Pino obviously with the nitro, hoping to get it through. Again, the double-sided tape playing on the opposite side there, clearly favouring Liquid into that one. Wasn't going to let him get it through to try and detonate. It was spotted out and it was taken down. Nice little adjustment.
Certainly was, and talking of adjustments, this score just seems to adjust itself back and forward. The momentum never seems to stick with anybody for long. And NIP, they've managed to get themselves in front again after a couple of hard-fought rounds going on the board for Team Liquid. But if Liquid can get themselves this one and come into their defensive phase at 3-all, I think that they will be more than satisfied with that. If we have a look at how Liquid have done previously, good results in Church and Arsenal, CCTV and Cash. As we've seen a few times over the season, Jackie, I can see this one coming down to the success rate in Gym and Bedroom. That is where it's going to be won and lost.
But now, this is quite possibly the better site for it, because again, obviously Oryx has been picked out once more. In terms of rotation points this time, it does make a lot more sense. Obviously, he's not going to be tunneling underground. He can actually utilize those hatches to go for a big rotation late round. Curious, Tim. It's definitely been a bit of an eyebrow raiser in the fact that NIP have been willing to bust out the Oryx so much, and of course you can see him already being put to use, going around on hatch duty, opening them straight up so he can give himself those late round rotations. We'll see. We'll come back to it and see if maybe it has a bit more of a big impact into the game this time. A little bit more care being utilized as well from Pino to open up that angle up above, so it is a lot more easier for him to actually get that nitro through. Doesn't want the same shenanigans happening for a 3rd time.
With the electrification, that makes the toss even tougher as well. If it touches that, it will be destroyed, so it needs to be very careful, and it's obviously going to be well practiced to try and get that one. It's like threading the eye of a needle, getting that nitro over there and into the correct area as well to have an impact on that east wall as it's been opened up. But we can see Sexy Cake just looking to push in now. I don't know if the nitro toss is going to come out or not. Not right now. It was certainly lined up, but they will ease off for the time being, and we can see Sexy Cake making some quick progress there. He's got himself towards those cash stairs. He's looking to hassle from the rotation here, and right now that needs to be dealt with. Julio does have nitro in hand, so he could potentially impact onto the Monty and try and prevent him being able to continue that push. But Sexy Cake, he's at a bit of an impasse. He can't move through the rotation with his shield extended. He's not going to want it, just puts him into a dangerous animation there. So he's just going to hold back and just feed as much information as he can. We can see the wall has been opened up to allow him to do that. So he's just going to be telling them exactly where those attackers are located. Out comes the nitro. Gets 2 huge throw, as I said, from Pino. Threads the eye of a needle and takes PSK and Nest down. However, Palu will get in, kill onto Julio, but shut down once again by Pino. That is 3 on the round. Muzi shuts down Moringa, and this is all going in the favour of NIP. They finish off the round 4-2. They find themselves on the scoreboard, and what a huge play from Pino.
Wait, Pino dropping bombs from the top rope. Chucks the nitro over. C4 on the door. Won't be breathing no more, with a double kill being found. And then we get the wicked Skengman play towards the end. Charging out with a knife and slicing his way through the man ahead of him. Looking like Butcher Pete as he chops that meat. And brings us to this position, Tim. A 4-2 split on the rounds. And here we go. This game is really starting to spice up. The series is starting to get quite interesting. We do have a replay as well. Oh, you can actually catch it. Barely going over the head of Palu. He just saw that nitro. As you can see the reaction there of just going, I need to run. Bolts it. Turns around just in time to see both of his teammates being detonated and broken by that nitro toss.
Tell you what, Jackie, I can see a timeline here where NIP can take this. I'm just looking. Yeah. I'm just looking over their previous attacking history here on Clubhouse. We've seen it here 3 times, so we've got a reasonable amount of information. And we've got a 50% win rate when attacking both Church and Arsenal and CCTV and Cash. So for argument's sake, let's say that we see those sites twice each, which wouldn't be unusual. If we're going for a full 3-site rotation each time, we'll see them twice. So that's 2 rounds. If they are 50-50, they're going to win one of them each time. If they can achieve that same rate, then they win one each time, and that puts them on the 6 that they need. So it comes down to gym and bedroom. As I say, it's going to come down to the success of Team Liquid to defend gym and bedroom. And right now, NIP have got a 75% win rate when attacking gym and bedroom. So you can easily see a timeline there whereby they can pick up 3 of these attacking rounds based on their history here. NIP have this in the palm of their hand right now. They've got themselves a big advantage, and they have got all the tools at their disposal that they require to close this one out. Team Liquid, this is going to be hard fought. And if you remember back to when we spoke at the beginning of this one, Jackie, I'd said Team Liquid have been on a little bit of a downward trend over the last couple of weeks, where NIP, their form has certainly risen. They've been on that rising curve, and sometimes it's not about exactly how good your form is, it's about hitting it at the right time, and NIP might have just done that coming into the major.
Oh, mate. If it was a matter of waking up on time, just when needed, well, NIP, they've proven that, you know, they're very effective. They're not late, they're never early. NIP arrive just on time, and that's what we've seen so far throughout the course of their opening matchup into the major. Major mistakes are being made for Team Liquid as Psycho overpowering, doing effectively what Sexy Cake did into the prior half as he'll push out on the Monty and massacre the first man, dropping Moringa. Palu rotates off as well, dashing out of there already. This true impact fragger has 11 frags already tied to him. That's barrels of impact frags being added one by one, but he needs to still do so much more as this round is only just beginning, and it is coming down to a 4 versus 4. About a minute on the clock as they're rotating around and making their move down towards that basement level and heading in towards the sites. But is this going to be a pretty sight for sore eyes, or will this be an NIP round, and will that be them moving to 5 already?
Very rarely a pretty sight down here on Church and Arsenal. It usually comes down to those last-second pushes and the last-second bloodbaths, and we just see it's like a battle royale. We just see who is left standing at the end of things and declare them the winner. But right now, Psycho, he's looking to push through Moto. He's getting aggressive on the Montagne here. He's certainly not slowing down his push, and he's going to feed that information in. I don't think he's really gained too much knowledge there. He's got a man playing near bar, and you could have decided that. You know that that's going to be the case before you go in there, but he's certainly pushing further in. He needs to be careful about his backside because he's got Nesk out there in the blue tunnel, and if he pushes too far, Nesk could use that rotation to get a line of sight onto him, and we see PSK able to take Psycho out there, and I think there was maybe a little bit too much aggression from the Montagne, showing why the blue corridor is such an important location. Picking up a double kill will be shut down by Pino, but ultimately Liquid win on time, and that is something that we have seen from NIP. We've commented on it, not so much today, but through the season, just leaving those pushes too late. And I think there was a bit of over-aggression from Monty into the site there, left himself exposed, and ultimately not dealing with Nesk in the blue corridor. That really did hurt them on the round. Big double from him there to push Liquid over the line. They get themselves back within 1, and this is game on.
All right. This is certainly interesting because, you know, it's also scary because those sort of rounds are historic NIP rounds. We've seen that happen many a time. It's just vintage, right? Where they'll go into their first round of attack, Tim, and because they've played such a solid half, they'll think, right, let's do what we do best. We'll play our slow style of siege. We'll creep in for the late round execute. And when they go for it, for some reason, it all falls apart a little bit. They kind of tunnel vision. They don't think about the bigger picture. They start to lose on the encounters, and they get picked to pieces. That's a one-off. That's a blip. It's the first round of attack. It's happened. Don't let it happen again. Don't let Liquid bring it back and close this into a 4-4. Because right now, you've got a little bit of a gap. You've sprinted further forward. Don't give them a catch-up mechanic and let them get back into a 4-4. And at that point, that's scary. Because Palu, he's been on point the whole night tonight. I mean, fair play to him, Tim. If we have a look at his total stats at the end of the series, it's got to be ridiculous, right? He's been hitting at what? At least 15 to 16 kills per map so far. So you total that in, that's like a 45 bomb towards the end of the series here. If he doesn't still go on to even maybe make it closer to a 50. But the rest of his side is now stepping up. We're seeing the odd player here and there actually coming into the forefront, hitting their shots. Nesk's waking up a bit. He's got 6 kills. We just need to see a little bit more from them. If they can bring it back to a 4-4, at that point, with them waking up, that's where I feel like the game is certainly still winnable for Liquid. NIP, you've dropped that first round. You went for your classic style of Siege. Now switch it up a little bit. Play with the confidence that you had on your defense and really open this game up like a gigantic hammer, cracking your way through some hefty nuts.
And right now, that is exactly what they are aiming to do. 4-3 on the board here. Team Liquid needing to get themselves back into it. Muzi with a big opener onto PSK, who was actively trying to bandit trick at the time and will lose his life to the explosive grenade coming in from underneath. Maybe not enough of a challenge down there in the lounge area from Liquid there, and they've just paid the price, losing their bandit early in this one. Opening kill there within the first minute. That's never going to be a good thing. The east wall will get opened up quickly, and right now Pino, he's looking to make a quick push on the construction side as well. There is a man set up there. It is the maestro of Palu. Who better would you want out there? He's got the deployable shield to help him as well, and he's going to try and lock things down with the Auda, but we can see quite a number of men moving over there for NIP. That is definitely going to be the spearhead of this push for the time being, and the Monty of Psycho just looking to move in and make things difficult for Palu once again, and that's exactly what forces him back into the site, and then he can look to block that doorway up, but he just needs to be careful that he doesn't leave himself exposed as the Toxic Babe canister comes out. Palu will try with the impact nade, but only hit his own shield. He doesn't manage to do any damage to the Montagna. That was all from the Toxic Babe canister. Out goes one into logistics just to see what he can find, but he will have no joy. The X-Kairos pellets will still be successful in opening, and that will leave the angle that is needed for NIP to force him away from this doorway.
Ooh, Palu. An awkward encounter there, but one he eventually does come out on top of. But he's taken another bullet as well. That's dropped him down to, what, like 10 HP at this position as he holds for the further push coming in. Palu, can he get louder with the Alda and start to hit a couple of shots, really rattle the bones of NIP here? That's what's required of him, because this is getting scary. He's brought himself up to 12 frags on the board, and that's all he's going to get for now, as he's put to bed by Kamikaze, tucking him in with a goodnight kiss. Response from Nesk, lurking towards the garage and waiting for the strike to come through. Sexy Cake on the trade, lands a bullet to the brain as he'll end Muzi, putting a bullet through where his thoughts get processed and leaving it all on one man for Liquid. Moringa in the 1 versus 3. The nice Pino trying to starve them out as the diffuser is going down. He's peeking into him. He was looking, hoping to squirrel the round away, spot out the player, diffusing and take him down, but in the end, it wasn't meant to be. He couldn't see him, couldn't get an angle, no lines of sight, and no pretty sights for sore eyes. NIP win out on that one. They break away. They again start to get the pace. They sprint ahead. 5-3. There's distance between both.
You remember what I said at the beginning of this half, Jackie? That is one of the attacks that NIP needed. As I said, there is definitely statistically room there for them to pick up attack on CCTV, to pick up an attack on Church and Arsenal, and then to finish things off in Gym and Bedroom. And right now, they are going to get the attempt at Gym and Bedroom. 75% win rate on attack for NIP here. By contrast, Team Liquid on the defense, only a 25% win rate. There is a mountain to climb. This is the moment. This right now is where Team Liquid, they are dunked into that vat of water. They are fresh steel right now, and they will either break and shatter here in Gym and Bedroom, or they will come out stronger, Jackie. But nobody knows until it happens which it is going to be.
Will the craftsman be happy with his work? Will the blacksmith be grinning from ear to ear? Or will he be saddened and not getting his gold doubloons for the day, Tim? Because his swords have shattered and it had left NIP out in the cold, chucked away, broken and defeated. If that is going to be the case, then Liquid, they need to bounce back and come out with round after round. And that is the bigger picture. It's not just about them having the odd round where Palu shows up, Nesk's able to come in for the odd little jab, get him in the gut and knock him for It's about them getting consistent, winnable rounds, back to back. And they need to go on a spree. If that spree is going to start, it has to come here from round 9 going forward. The defense has to be tenacious. No more opportunities for you to snooze in the game here. No more opportunities for Team Liquid to just drop another round and just think it's just one. We can still bite back, Tim. Because if that happens, that is guaranteed overtime. And if it happens twice, that is NIP taking the win, winning the series 2-1, staying in the upper bracket to face off against FaZe Clan, and Liquid will be back in the lower bracket to face up against Team 1. A Team 1 that beat them in regulation of BR6, Tim. That is the storyline we're looking at.
Didn't just beat them, Jackie, but beat them up 14-6 over 2 maps. Liquid were completely unable to get into it. And I think I said it at the time. I said that potentially, or it might have been you, Jackie, who said that that result could have much further reaching waves than just the result itself. And that coming into the major, those teams might play each other. And it might just play mentally into that game. The fact that that previous result exists. And that could be exactly what we are seeing. Because right now, NIP, they are taking strides towards winning this. They take Sexy Cake out to begin with. That's the Jaeger off the board. That's the roam game gone. Right now, Nesk, he's on low health as well. Pino's taken some damage, but at 5 versus 4, NIP are feeling confident. They're starting to bully players around with Psycho on the Montagna once again, and we can just see this death coming in between him and PSK there. He's got him trapped. There's a rotation behind him in the closet there, so he can move back through to the bedroom, but they need to be careful they don't focus on this Monty quite so much. Nesk will get the kill onto Pino, and he will get a second onto Muzi. Nesk shows that Monty is not even a thing for him. He will look past him as if he's not there and get the 2 men behind him. And right now, Team Liquid, they are having a great round, but Julio will shut down Nesk, and the pressure starts to mount. Monty, not yet been dealt with, goes in and gets the Kaid. 3 versus 1 now, and this is all going to NIP. They're going to guarantee themselves the draw at this rate. Moringa gets Kamikaze. That's Diffuser on the ground, but he's going to get pinned down by the Monty. He gets one. Surely he can't do this. 1 versus 3. Julio versus Moringa. He needs to pick that diffuser up and look at playing it. He's only got 15 seconds. He knows exactly where the man is, but it is automatic versus shotgun, and shotgun will win out at the short range. Moringa 1v3. How about that for Team Liquid? Just going right to the brink and then reeling it back in.
Look at the confidence on that peak. You could practically scrape the confidence off him with a knife, Tim. He swings wildly, connects the hit with the shotty. Oh, the signature shotgun speciality there. He's got a shotty by the shower in case you try and attack him whilst he's showering, and he busts out dripping wet and dripping with prowess into that encounter as he takes down another man, cleans up the round, and keeps it moving for Team Liquid. Absolute banger of a round. Wild. I thought it was over. When the Monty got in his face, I was thinking, it's done, Tim. That's match point. That's going to be 6-3. But in the end, it's a 5-4 split now. And Team Liquid, just when you think they're out of luck, just when you think the game's over, Lady Luck, the fickle mistress that she is, flips them a coin and gives them an opportunity to get back in the game.
I built the challenge up ahead of going into that round, Jackie. I threw the stats all over it that Team Liquid were only a 25% win rate on that site. I really tried to hammer home the scale of the task that was ahead of them, and they decided to pile on, to add fuel to the fire, to make it even more difficult to leave Moringa in the 1 versus 3, but it was not difficult for him in the slightest as he shut it down. And unfortunately for Julio at the end there, he just found himself in that CQC situation, and face to face with the shotgun, it is always going to be a one-way ticket to Loserville, and that is exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, Moringa, certified lip remover in close quarters encounters, Tim. He has a license to kill and certainly a license to thrill. He's a human roller coaster, and he has really been taking us through all of the emotions. Some crazy highs and some shattering lows here on Clubhouse. But now we're at this point. You either equalize the scoreline or you concede it and give it to NIP, allowing them to have a guaranteed overtime and be 1 round away from locking down the game. Liquid, that was your wake-up call. You cannot hit snooze. You cannot concede these rounds. Play to that level of excellence now coming into round 10, Tim, and we will have a sickening series on our hands.
5 versus 5 as we move into the mid-round here. Coming through the first minute, we haven't seen any contact as of yet. There is a top floor roam clearance that needs to continue. Team Liquid have got a few men stationed up here on the top floor and just looking to waste as much time as possible. The hatches are open and the potential is there to drop back to site. That is a great start for the roam, taking out the Monty. Moringa loses his life though to Pino, and Kamikaze managed to get one in the mix onto Palu as well. So that is the roam clearance completed, and NIP can start mounting an attack towards site now. But a minute and a half has been wasted, and there is the question of Nesk in blue by the generator. They didn't manage to shift him last time, and he really did swing the round with a big double kill exactly when Team Liquid needed it. It was perfectly timed. So, will NIP learn the lesson? Will they go for a multifaceted attack, or do they keep it to that one angle onto Church Wall? Because very often on the bottom floor, down in basement, that is not the way to have success. You need to at least add a little bit of spice in there. You need to at least throw some herbs into the mix and get yourself down the dirt tunnel or into blue and get some sort of additional control.
If you are going to be able to punish, bring it out now, because you are really leaving it down to the wire, and it's looking scary for Team Liquid. What can they do into this round as the push is starting to come through, charging up towards the dinner table and looking to cut their way through this one? But the knife and fork's not going to be good enough when there is firearms on the other side as they're picking up the frags. Issue is they get a bit too bloodthirsty. Sexy Cake, oh no, this man's taken a bite out of his own team, Tim, as we come through with a frag of their own kind. Team Liquid on liquid crime now. At least it's going to work out well in the grand scheme of the round as they get another frag. Downing Muzi, dropping him down to the ground in a revivable state but in a horrendous position, and he's finished off. Impact nade to the legs, blowing him in half and severing him like a worm. We'll see the final frag round from Sexy Cake. The man has been on a hype ting into this one, Tim. Frag after frag, even his own teammates, he doesn't give a damn. He was in a bloodlust, and it reigns supreme, keeping the scoreline tight as it is brought back once again. 5 a pop here in the third and final map between these two behemoths of the scene.
The red mist came down and Sexy Cake just let it happen there. He just moved around with consummate ease, just destroying one player after another like a demigod in the server. He was unstoppable in round number 10 and puts Team Liquid right back into this. And guess what? We are going to see all 12 rounds. That much is a guarantee. But will we see even more? Will we see the overtime once again here on map 3 to decide who goes through to that upper bracket, to decide who continues on the warpath towards FaZe Clan, and who will need to fight for their very lives inside of the major when they drop into the lower bracket? And Team 1, they are waiting for them, and that is not going to be an easy matchup by any means.
Team 1, they might be in the lower bracket, but it doesn't mean that they're easy to beat. As you said, Tim, they are a squad that's gone toe-to-toe with some of the best and brightest Sparks from Brazil, and they certainly made Sparks fly whenever they got into those encounters, and that is what is absolutely terrifying to speculate about, because as tight as the series has been, the first series was just as close, and then you get dropped into that lower bracket, you have to fight for your survival, not even having a safety net beneath you. Your back is going to be up. You will need to stand tall, and you will have to be cutthroat. Really, really cutthroat going into those games, and that's why it is so incredible. The major has been popping so far. I hope everyone has been strapped in and watching this glued to their monitor, because this is only the second semi-final. We still have the lower bracket to cover, and there is still 2 more days of competition here, and there is still a few more rounds to go before we know who's going to be on top here into this encounter between Liquid and NIP. Shots raining down early. The Hurty-Verty's coming through, but it's just going to be tags. No actual opening frags. Muzi taking a heavy hit, but he's still alive and kicking, and that's pivotal, Tim, as He's been waking up. He's been hitting his shots. 10 frags to his name. You do not want to lose a player like Muzi right here, right now.
Absolutely not, and it's no surprise to see him taking some shots. If you remember last time we saw CCTV and Kashi open things up with a great destructive grenade kill onto PSK through the floorboards whilst he was clearing off those bandit batteries, but this time they were alive to that danger and ready on the vertical angles to deal some damage back in the opposite direction. So Muzi, like you say, needs to just keep himself alive for certainly at least into the later round here. Now, out comes the Monty and out comes the smoke. That's going to push Psycho away and do an awful lot of damage. That puts him below half health here. And right now, Team Liquid, they look almost on course to head themselves towards getting an advantage and getting a match point opportunity here. Garage Catwalk is going to be really important for them to clear out, and just as I say it, Pino once again so strong on the entry will take Sexy Cake out, and that completely frees up the Garage Catwalk. That is control of the Eastern Breach, and that is now the potential for NIP to get the diffuser down. The man count is too low for Liquid to play somebody down into Lounge. They have very few options to deny a plant here. They don't have the smoke on the board anymore. They might have a nitro in the hand of PSK, but he is not in a position to be able to deploy it to prevent that diffuser going on the ground, especially with the Monty right up in his face. Maestro is going to be challenged there, will take big shots. Palu is going to have to dip down away from that challenge and go back to head glitching the bomb, but right now they need to focus on getting the diffuser down, and that is exactly what Kamikaze is going to do. We can see PSK cleared away. Palu tries to challenge but won't be able to find the angle. 4 versus 2, diffuser on the ground, low health on the Maestro, needing a reload. Things are stacking up against Team Liquid here. NIP get Nesk, and now it is all down to the man, the talisman that is Palu. He gets 1 versus. He's looking for 3 more or to get onto this diffuser, but it is being watched from an insanely long angle and will be shut down, I think, through the drone hole ultimately. If you're going to lose your life to anywhere, that's the last place you want it to be.
Man, I was trying to figure it out. I was like, was he just been done through the floorboards? How have they actually got the angle on him? But yeah, the drone hole coming out. Oh, taking off his shoes. I hope they weren't expensive because there will be no resale value on those bad boys. Bullet hole through them. It's almost as bad as doing a shoey. No one will want to buy those shoes off you, Tim. 6-5 now, though, and it seems like they are shooing Team Liquid out of the runnings here. And NIP are going on to lock it down. This could be another 7-5. The opening map, way back on Coastline, about 2 hours ago now, we saw that initial map being won. 7-5. Then the turning of the tides. Ninjas in Pyjamas, they rock up and they are ready to party on Cafe, and they shook Liquid to their core. They've now come out full stop, living their movie here, Tim, on Clubhouse, and they're currently poised for perfection. 1 round away from winning the series. That's all that's required. However, on the flip side of the coin, Liquid, it's your last chance. If you're going to come in, if you're going to stop this, it needs to be now or never. They've got to hold their peace forever, Tim. If they lose out in this round, because they will be dropped down to the lower bracket, and NIP will stand tall going through to fight FaZe Clan in a best-of-3 tomorrow on Saturday.
10 seconds left.
Going to be heading to Jim is where we will see this one fought out, and it's a slightly surprising choice for Team Liquid. They've lost it once so far, and then they did win it, but it came down to a huge 1v3 clutch from Moringa, and that is not the sort of thing that you can consistently rely on. So this could be a really big ask here on this site. It is not going to be easy right now, especially with Team Liquid needing to keep themselves in it. They didn't have the option of going down to church, and obviously just had lost all confidence in CCTV and Cash given the success of NIP's take there. So I can completely understand the reasoning, but right now, if I was a Liquid fan, I'd be a little bit worried about this situation.
A little bit worried might be a bit of an understatement potentially with the way it's going. This is the type of game to give someone like Jenna a heart attack here, unless Team Liquid can turn it round. And if they can turn it round, it needs to happen right now. We're at the 2-minute mark. NIP slowly but surely pushing up bit by bit, utilizing Julio on the Thatcher for the smooth transition instantly into the plant with the Thermite there to tear down that wall. They are going to have a bit of a struggle on their hands, though, as we can see someone lurking right there, waiting for the peak to come around and try and take them down on the corridor encounter. Will this man set them up on a date with the coroner from the corridor, though? Only time will tell, Tim.
Generally speaking, when attacking onto this site, you want to get two angles of attack. One is going to move through cash and construction, and that is where we see a number of Liquid players just holding ground to try and prevent that happening. And other is this angle that we are seeing now from that west side wall. Clear out the jacuzzi wall, clear out the bathroom wall, and just prevent Moringa being able to play in that safe spot that he had last time inside of the shower. Now, that is a great shutdown from Psycho onto Nesk. One of the roamers gone, and man advantage goes to NIP. 1 minute, 10 seconds left, and they are making good progress so far. Muzi shuts down Moringa. Palu, however, will trade it back out. Sexy Cake steps into the breach as well and gets himself one. 3 versus 3 now. Kamikaze, however, aggressing deeply into sight and will get the kill onto Palu. So 2 versus 3 and plenty of time. 50 seconds is an age for the defenders to absorb this sort of pressure, especially when they find themselves 1 versus 3. Sexy Cake's got it all to do. 1 versus 2 effectively with a man down. He sees the first, but he won't be able to hit the shot. The crouch walk does it. Kamikaze takes the win for NIP, and that is another unbelievable series in the books. It goes all the way to 12 in map 3, but ultimately it is NIP who come away the victors and continue their charge through the major into the upper bracket final.
Oh my. Skulking his way through the crevice, peeking out and punishing them. A beautiful final frag to close it down, and that's the way the game is going to go. It started off with a 7-5 in favour of Liquid.